Now, this may sound crazy, but you need to hear this. You need to fail. Yes, you do. But hear me out first. Most people treat failure as catastrophic or devastating events in their life. In fact, usually so much so that many people never get back up after experiencing huge failures. And many other people are so afraid of failing that they end up not trying at all. Even the slightest hint of risk is avoided at all costs. But the truth is, failing is good. Failing is good for your growth and success. In fact, in so many ways, success is only meaningful because of the probability of failure. Failure is an important ingredient necessary for success. Failure itself is not the issue. The issue is that most people don't learn how to utilize it or how to fail correctly. Because there's so much hate or fear failing, they don't study anything that has to do with failure. They don't even entertain the thought of it. And then following that process, when they do fail, they fail heavily, and they fail at a time when it's almost impossible for them to get back up. In one of the Chinese dramas that I'm watching, there was this lady who had a rough childhood and was a destitute. But fortunately for her, she was found by this martial arts master that took her under his wings and brought her into their sect. From there, she learned martial arts and was top among her peers. She was made the head of a section of the sect, and she would handle investigations and go on missions, stuff like that. And she was good. She always delivered, always fulfilled her missions, always won her fights, and then she began taking initiatives on her own, sometimes deviating from the sect's plan of attack or defense because she could always fight her way through it. One time, she took initiative as usual and went ahead to scout the area that they were supposed to attack, not knowing that she was being tracked by the enemy. Her group members ended up being poisoned and she was caught and tortured. Eventually, the sect came to rescue her, leading to a full-on battle that ended up taking the lives of many of their sect's members. When they took her back home, she became a ghost of herself. She wouldn't eat, she wouldn't come out of her room, she wouldn't talk to people. She was just withdrawn. And the main reason was that because she's been on the winning side for so long and has never actually tasted defeat, when she finally experienced it, she didn't know how to handle it. She blamed herself for all her lives lost and believed everybody blamed her as well, when in reality nobody really blamed her, but the nightmares and the thoughts in her head kept making her think that that was the case. Eventually though, she got out of that situation, but it took her such a long time. If she had had many experiences where she had failed, even if it's like smaller levels of failure, she would have gotten used to it, and this other failure would not have overwhelmed her so much. She would have been able to handle it much easier. And this is what many people's relationship with failure is. They are so afraid of failing, so used to trying to avoid anything that could possibly lead them to fail, that when they do eventually fail, they fail very heavily that it overwhelms them. Think about this. If you're building a house and after a few coaches, you realize that the topography of the place, the topography of the area is not suitable for the size of the structure that you are trying to build, and that you should have seriously reinforced the ground before starting the whole building process. And now cracks are beginning to appear in the walls when you haven't even finished the building. Under that situation, patching up the cracks or adding pillars here and there may not necessarily fix the situation. In fact, most likely it won't fix the situation. It might delay the inevitable, but eventually the house will crumble. So if at the early stages of that discovery, you stop, bring it down and do the right thing, you may lose some money, but you won't lose everything. You still might be able to start up again and complete your project. But if you keep going because you don't want to lose money, when you're done and you move in, the house could then collapse at that time. At that point, you won't just lose more money, time, energy and other resources, but you might even lose human lives as well. So the best option would have been to fail earlier and restart earlier. And again, that's what most people's relationship with failure is like, always trying to avoid even thinking about it until it's too late. So here's my advice for you. 1, embrace the possibility of failing. Failure is not the end of a process, it's just one of the steps. So long as you are willing to keep getting back up, failure can never end that journey for you. 2, failure will teach you more than books, seminars, YouTube videos and podcasts will. They say that experience is the best teacher. And what an experience failure is. Failure will imprint the lessons of that process into your mind. So see failure as a learning phase of your growth journey. 3, fail fast and fail early. If you're dealing with a situation where failure is inevitable, your best bet will be to fail fast and fail early before you exhaust your time, money, energy, and other resources that could help you rebuild. Dragging the failure on and on and on will simply bleed you dry. And when it eventually happens, you won't be able to get back up. because you've spent everything trying to drag it on and on and on. So fail early and fail fast. Every successful person you know today has failed several times. It's almost the only reason they succeeded. So stop fearing or hating failure. See it as any other ingredient of success. After all, you only truly fail when you don't get back up. So yeah, that's it. Hope you learned something. If you did, let me know in the comments.